Hey, how's it going? It's PizzaYeti here this week. This video is going to be a book haul, and so let's get down to it. So I wanted to do a book haul while not breaking my current book haul or book buying ban. And so I wanted to use a resource that most of us have available to us, especially if you live in the States, and that's the public library. And so I just wanted to go through some of the books that I got from the library for this month, and I'm excited to see how you guys feel about them. Alright, so first off we have some poetry books. As I said in my intro video, I was a creative writing major in college, and so while I was doing that major and pursuing that, I got really interested in reading and writing poetry. Now, I regret to say that I haven't read anything by this poet up to this point, but I've started one of the books already and it's phenomenal. I've really loved the way that she's written, and I've really loved learning about her life. And that poet would be Gwendolyn Brooks. Now, this first book, it's the essential writings of her, or as the publisher has decided these are her essential writings. And just a little bit of backstory, Gwendolyn Brooks was actually the first African American to receive a Pulitzer Prize, and so that's a really big deal. And so I'm excited just to see how her work has impacted so many other people. And I'm excited to see, as I read more poetry, how you can see her influence in today's writers. And so just a couple other books that I picked up are also hers. These are the selected works that she's written. And then this last one is titled In Montgomery. In Montgomery was actually initially published as a standalone poem, but as she gained popularity, it was actually put into a book format with other poems that she has written. And so I'm really excited to finish those 3 books. So next up, we're kind of flipping it a little bit, and we're going to be checking out Alton Brown's Everyday Cook. And so I am a 23-year-old, and to be honest, I don't really know how to cook. I fall into the statistic of people my age that neglected cooking because my mom and dad cooked all of the meals, and so I never learned. And my older sister knows how to cook, but I think that that's because she's older and she just wanted to learn and I wanted to be outside playing. So I just never learned when I was a kid. And so I've done a lot of reading online and checking out a lot of the BuzzFeed cooking videos, but I wanted to read a book by somebody that is known for cooking. And I loved his book, Good Eats, when I was a kid, and so I'm really excited to see how he combines his style of writing and his style of cooking in this cookbook. And so I'm hoping to learn a little bit, and hopefully I can learn how to cook so that I don't just eat hot dogs and ramen all the time. I don't actually eat hot dogs or ramen, but that was the only thing that I could think of. So let's just go with I don't want to eat rice and pasta all the time, because those are the 2 things that I'm pretty confident about making. So I'm really excited to learn about cooking from Alton Brown, as I learned about cooking when I was a kid just watching his TV show with my sister and my family. So the next books that we're going to be talking about it's a trilogy right now of what I know. It's written by Karsten Knight, and the first book is called Wildfire. I read this book when it first came out in 2011, and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't super impressed. And so I just never finished the trilogy. Well, I was at my library earlier today, and I noticed that they not only had this first book, but they had the second and the third. And since it's free and I have the time, I decided to just pick them up to see if I liked it better on the second reading. And it's a really cool premise. It's another reincarnation story. So it's this girl who has been reincarnated as a Polynesian goddess, and it's kind of her adventure figuring out what that really means in her life. And so I'm pretty excited to try it again, and I'm thinking I'm going to like it a lot better, knowing what I'm getting myself into on the second read through. So the next books on the list are books that I have wanted to read for a really long time, but I stopped buying graphic novels a while ago because I go through them so quickly, and they're not books that I reread frequently. I always love the ones that I pick up and read, but they're not the books that I go back to when I want to be comforted. That's more like Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. If you haven't read it, I'd definitely check it out. I adore that book. It's one of my favorites. But I've wanted to read these 2 books that I picked up at the library for a really long time. I've actually already read them since checking them out, and I've really greatly enjoyed them. And it's the Scott Pilgrim series by Brian Lee O'Malley. Now, when the movie came out, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I was pretty excited to see it. It looked like a movie that was right up my alley. It combines real life and this video game culture, and I was pretty pumped to see it. And so I checked out the movie without having read any of the graphic novels, and I really enjoyed it. And so when I saw that my library had the first 2 books in stock at the library that I was at, I was just like, I'm definitely checking these out. Because oftentimes when I go to libraries, they'll have like 2, 5, and 6, and those are the only books that they have. And so I was really pumped to see that they had 1 and 2, and so I'm just waiting on the rest of them to get returned to the library so that I can check out the rest of the series. I definitely recommend it. I love the art style that O'Malley uses. I've read some of his other books. I would also check out Seconds if you hadn't read it. I think that he does a great job of expressing how it feels as someone who's transitioning into, I want to follow my dreams, but other people are telling me that my dreams aren't attainable. I think that Seconds does a really good job of showing how that affects us as we live and how that affects our growth. So I'd definitely check out Seconds as well if you haven't picked it up. So these next 2 books also stay within the video game realm of things. The first one is called State of Play, and it is essays written by creators and critiques of video game culture. I play a fair amount of video games, and it's been a pretty big part of my life in the last few years, and so I'm definitely really interested to see what people who are active in the industry have to say about video games and how they affect not only the people who play them, but the wider culture in general. So I'm excited to see what they have to say about it. The next one is called Slay the Dragon, and it's about writing great video games. So obviously as a creative writing major, I toiled a bit in the fantasy realm and what that looked like for my writing, and so I'm excited to see how I could use that in terms of writing a video game. I love playing them, so it would be really cool to say that I helped write one at some point in my future, and I hope in this book will be able to help me flesh out some of the ideas that I have. Okay, so these last 2 books are also in the young adult fantasy section of life, like Wildfire and the trilogy that comes with that. And this first one is called Shadow Shaper. It's a book that has been on my to-read list for a really long time. It's by a diverse author, it features a diverse protagonist, and so I'm really excited to see how he builds his world. I haven't read any of his other works, but I'm really excited to see what this one looks like. I have been looking for a while for ways to increase the diversity in my books, because like a lot of people, I found myself reading a lot of books that just had white protagonists, which is fine, but I definitely know that there's a gap and a need for representation in books. And so I want to be able to support authors that really celebrate that. And so Shadow Shaper follows this girl her name is Sierra. She's a Latina, and she is part of this class called Shadow Shapers. And it's a way of infusing ancestral spirits into works of art, whether that's painting, music, songs, whatever you would like. And it's about her figuring out how to protect this culture as she goes about her life. And so I'm really excited to get started on this. I've got a trip to Chicago this weekend, and I think this is the one that I'm going to be taking with me. And the last book on my list is one that I didn't actually know was coming out and was being published. It's by the author of Wrath and Dawn and Rose and Dagger, and I loved those books. I'm not a huge fan of romance books as they stand, but I fell in love with the world that this author created. And so she just came out with this new book, Flame in the Mist, and I'm so pumped to dig into another book that she's written. I was kind of sad at the end of the duology, The Wrath and the Dawn and Rose and the Dagger, because I didn't know if she was going to be coming out with more books. And so when I saw this pop up on Goodreads and on Facebook, I was like, I have to get this book. Where can I get it? And thankfully, the library that I go to actually had it in stock at the one that I went to. And so, of course, I picked it up right away. And I'm excited to dive into this book and see how she has created a whole new world for us to go into. I've already heard great reviews about it from some of my favorite authors, And so I'm excited. I haven't been this excited about a book in a really long time, especially a book that's come out that's new. And so I'll see how it goes, and I'll let you guys know if I liked it or not. I'm sure that I will. This author is phenomenal. I love her. So yeah, that's it for the book haul video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click that subscribe button down below, and if you want to get notifications of when I post new videos, also hit that little bell. I hope that you will also give me book recommendations down in the comments. Definitely do that. I'd love to know what you guys are reading, and I'll check you out in the next video. Thanks for watching.